What's going on, you guys? Mason Ramon here, and welcome back to Kaiju figure reviews. Now, it's been a little while since I've done a Kaiju figure review, but now I'm back with another one, and here's today's Kaiju review, and I think it's the best time to review it. Here he is. Gorosaurus from Destroy All Monsters. Alright, so Gorosaurus, I got this guy in the mail a few days ago, and I really like this figure. He is really cool. Now, to give you guys a little bit of history for Gorosaurus, Gorosaurus is actually one of the most obscure monsters in the whole Godzilla series. He's only appeared in two major films, King Kong Escapes, which is outside of the Godzilla franchise, and Destroy All Monsters, which is inside of the Godzilla franchise. You can count Godzilla's Revenge, but it's shameless stock footage, so I'm just not going to talk about it. So yeah, he only starred in two films, and he was actually a replacement for one of the monsters in Destroy All Monsters, which I will get to in a little bit. So let's start with the detail. As you can see here, the detail on this guy is just, it's great. His overall skin texture, it's made out of like these bumps and stuff like that. It's kind of a bumpy texture, and it's actually really nicely done. He's even got some ridges on the tail, and there's folds on his torso. There's even a couple folds right here on the throat to make him look like a dinosaur, kind of. A little bit more like a dinosaur. There's folds on his legs. There's folds on his chest. There's a couple of folds on his arm. And there's a really major fold here and here on his waist. And looking at the head, I really actually like the head. A lot of people complain that the head's too large, but this isn't a problem for me. It looks all right to me. And if you look closely, they actually detailed the tongue, and that actually looks really nice. They gave him a detailed tongue. And if you look on the roof of the mouth, I don't know if you can see that, but there's details in the roof of the mouth as well. The eyes look kind of cartoony, but that's what they were supposed to look like in the films. Cartoony looking eyes, because what do you know, it's the Showa series. The spikes actually look really nice too. They're not sharp enough to poke you, but they're actually incredibly smooth, which I really like. Yeah. Even the claws, smooth. The toes are smooth, and they're not sharp. Same with the teeth. It's in a row, because the teeth are kind of small, but they're not sharp. They will not poke you. Alright, so let's move on to paint job. The paint job of the figure, a lot of people would say that this is an inaccurate color for Gorosaurus. Well, if you want to say this, it actually is inaccurate. Gorosaurus was definitely not green. I'm going to pull him over to the side and pull up a photo. Now, as you guys can see in this photograph, Gorosaurus was actually a light bluish gray color. In the films, he was a light gray, not green. But he was a bit of a greenish color in this Green Man show. A very obscure Toho show, probably a knockoff of Ultraman, but that doesn't matter. In his major films, Gorosaurus was gray, but with this figure, he's green. Now, personally, the green doesn't bother me that much. I'm kind of used to seeing green on Gorosaurus because I've been seeing a lot of Gorosaurus figures instead of clips from movies. Because not a lot of clips from movies were up on YouTube at that time. Besides, I was like 6 years old when Godzilla was introduced to me in my life. Anyways, but I think the green actually does look kind of nice on Gorosaurus, even though it's not the right color for him. I think it looks kind of nice. One thing that's actually kind of neat is that his back, I don't know if it's picking up on my camera, the back is actually a metallic bluish color. If I remember correctly, I think Gorosaurus actually had a bluish back. Last time I checked for Destroy All Monsters, I'm not too sure. I might have to look at a photo or something like that. And of course, the tongue is red, and the eyes, they're not completely white. They're actually like a yellowish color, and the pupils are awfully large, and they're black. Now, as you can see here, the torso, the chest area here, is actually like a yellowish, it's like a glossy yellow color. I think his stomach was maybe a brownish color or an orangish color when I first saw him in Destroy All Monsters. And the claws and the toes are a silverish color. So paint job, it's mashed up for this figure, but I think it looks nice for Gorosaurus. Sure, it's not the most accurate of colors, but I think it's a good choice for him, in my opinion. So as for articulation, like all other Bandai figures, he only has about 6 points. He has 6 points of articulation, and I will show you. First of all, his arms can go up and down like this. This is actually a very old figure, so it may be a little bit difficult for me. It's a little difficult to rotate. This arm, on the other hand, it can go almost 360, but his waist gets in the way. They can't go 360 in general because of the way the arms are posed to make him look like a dinosaur, which is just fine. The legs, they can go up and down like this. Not 360, and I don't want to force him 360 because this, again, it's old and it's, I don't want to break it. So yeah, the legs can get a good range. It's definitely enough range to get your stop motion in. Like, you can definitely do your stop motion with this thing, definitely. And now for the tail can rotate as well. I can rotate it 360, I just don't want to do it often. You can rotate the tail 360 though. So yeah, that is 6 points of articulation for Gorosaurus, which is actually pretty good. And now let's do a couple of size comparisons. I got quite a few monsters to compare him with, so let's get to it. Here is the first monster he ever confronted / fought. King Kong. This is the 2005 King Kong, but I still have King Kong. I don't have the 67 or 62 Kong, but who cares? I have King Kong, and they're about eye to eye just by looking at it. Gorosaurus, he does look bigger, but they're about the same height, and they're about eye to eye with each other. And Gorosaurus, he is a reptile after all, and he has a bit more of a bulkier build to him, since he's a dinosaur after all. And if you actually pose him like this, with his iconic kangaroo kick, that actually does look kind of nice. So let me just get the legs back down here. So scaling with King Kong is actually, I think it's really nice. Now let's compare him to some monsters from Destroy All Monsters. First of all, I would like to compare him with Barragan. So yes, Barragan and Gorosaurus, I think they look good together. Now here's a little bit of backstory with Barragan in Destroy All Monsters. Barragan was the monster who was originally going to destroy Paris, but unfortunately, he was replaced with Gorosaurus. Why was he replaced? Well, here's the thing. The Barragan suit was damaged, so Tsuburaya decided to use the Barragan suit for different Ultraman monsters, like Naranga, Magular. So that's why Barragan was replaced with Gorosaurus when he was attacking Paris. But overall, the scaling with this is actually really nicely done. I think it's nicely captured. Alright, so here's the next monster I got. Anguirus. I think Anguirus and Gorosaurus, they do look good together. Since Anguirus is on 4 legs and Gorosaurus is on 2. Those two were the monsters who teamed up with Godzilla to fight King Ghidorah. And I will get to those in a minute. But overall, I think this scaling looks pretty nice. Now I'll compare him with Godzilla Jr. I don't really know, but I do have Godzilla Jr. and I wanted to compare him with them anyways. Personally, I think this actually looks really nice, since Godzilla Jr. is close to being Godzilla's age, or close to being an adult. He's not as tall as Gorosaurus, and he's not as powerful as Godzilla. So, personally, I think this looks pretty nice. Now I'll compare him with Rodan. I have to hold him up because his legs are, like, out of whack. There we go. Yeah, I probably just did something bad for the figure. Gorosaurus and Rodan, they actually do look good together. This is the Final Wars Rodan, and they actually do look really nice together, I think. I think it looks accurate. Now I will compare him with King Ghidorah. Now this is the Heisei King Ghidorah, and this is not a good scaling. Because, of course, this is a 6-inch figure for King Ghidorah, but Gorosaurus is towering over King Ghidorah, surprisingly. So yeah, this isn't too good. Unless... problem solved. The GMK King Ghidorah. Now, as you can see, the GMK King Ghidorah is much bigger than Gorosaurus. He kind of dwarfs him a little bit. So as you guys can see here, Gorosaurus is kind of dwarfed by King Ghidorah a little bit. Because King Ghidorah, he's much bigger in diameter compared to Gorosaurus. Even with his wingspan, it kind of dwarfs him a little bit. So this actually kind of solves the problem. If you want to get the Showa King Ghidorah, then that's fine by me. No matter if it's the Bandai, the Giga Brain, or the Monster Arts, whatever King Ghidorah floats your boat. I think this one floats my boat, personally, because it looks nice. I think it looks nice. Okay. And now compare him to his ally, Godzilla. There we go. So now here he is compared to the Bandai Creations 1968 Godzilla. Personally, I think this actually looks really nice. Since Gorosaurus was slightly shorter than Godzilla in the movie, if I got the regular Bandai 68 Godzilla, then they'd probably be eye to eye. But with this, I think it looks pretty nice. And now for these last two comparisons, I'm only going to compare for, you know, shits and giggles. First, here we have Gamora. Yes, I wanted to compare Gorosaurus with Gamora because why not? I think it'd be a nice tag team together. Gorosaurus and Gamora. They look great. I think they look great. Yeah, this looks awesome. And now finally the last one. Godzilla 2014. Now I think this actually looks really nice together as well. Except for the heads. Gorosaurus' head is very, very large compared to Godzilla's head. But if you want to take this seriously, I actually like this scaling. Sure, Godzilla is slightly shorter than Gorosaurus, but they're actually eye to eye with each other. So I think this actually looks really nice in comparison. Yeah. And now you guys are probably wondering how rare this guy is. Well, this guy is actually one of, if not the rarest Godzilla figure of all time. I was lucky enough to find mine for $75 on eBay. I don't know if you guys would consider $75 a steal or a lucky price or something like that. Personally, I think it's lucky enough because that's stuff that I can afford. I would find Gorosaurus figures by this brand particularly for about $100 or $120, if not $200. So that's pretty fucking expensive. I got mine for $75. But overall, this is probably the rarest Godzilla figure ever made. But I'm very, very glad that I got him. Now, before I get into the grade for Gorosaurus, I would like to point out that this is not the only Gorosaurus figure out there. Let me slide him over. I'm going to pull up 2 photographs of Gorosaurus figures that are also available. These Gorosaurus figures are actually slightly cheaper than this one. These 2 Gorosaurus figures are made by YMSF. There's 2 variants. One variant is with its mouth closed and its tail in a natural position, and it's a bit of a bluish color. The second variation has its mouth open with its tail curved up, and it's painted green. Those are the YMSF Gorosaurus figures. Now overall, I really like this figure. I'm very, very happy that I got Gorosaurus, and I think it looks great in my collection. Now personally, detail, I think the detail's really, really nicely done. It is a little glossy, but still, it's really nice. Paint job, people would say that this is the wrong paint applications for Gorosaurus, but I'm used to seeing him in green. Articulation, 6 points. What do you expect of a Bandai figure? 6 points of articulation. Sure, they're kind of stiff to move, but again, this is a very vintage figure. Sizing is actually really, really nicely captured. And rarity, probably the rarest Godzilla figure ever made. So overall, I'm going to give Gorosaurus a 9.5 out of 10. Why give him a 9.5? Well, stiff articulation, and he's fucking rare. The paint job, some would say that it's really inaccurate, but I like it. The detail, really, really nicely done, but it's a little glossy, which is fine. So yeah, that's why I give it a 9.5 out of 10. And so that's it for this review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Peace out.